Flying a gas bag is a lot trickier than it looks. We've all made the mistake of flying up way too fast on our gas bag and either getting ourselves killed at the world border or getting our gas bag really hurt when coming back down to earth. I really struggled in learning how to fly a gas bag, but I have been testing and I have been training really hard, and I want to share my tips that I have to make you a better gas bag pilot. First, let's cover basic controls. The left click on your mouse or the right trigger on your controller is the primary attack. I wouldn't even bother attacking anything with a gas bag. These guys are lovers, they're not fighters, they do minimal or no damage. The right click on your mouse or left trigger on your controller is your air refill button. You'll see on the bottom left of your screen a little HUD that says gas. This is how much gas is carried by your gas bag. You use the right click to intake air and fill up your gas bag. Now you actually need to hold it to fill all the way up, or you can click it if you just want to get small amounts of gas in at once. One thing to note when clicking the secondary right click attack is that you cannot fill yourself up with air once you are in flight. You can only refill the gas bag once you've landed. The tertiary attack, which is typically the C key on your keyboard or clicking the right joystick, will rapidly expel air from your gas bag. You can use the air from this to knock back creatures and players, and they actually travel a pretty far distance. This attack does 0 damage, but it does cause a lot of knockback. If you click this tertiary attack while flying, all of the air will rapidly deflate out of your gas bag and you will plummet back down to the ground. When leveling up your gas bag, you actually want to put most of your points into oxygen. This increases the amount of the gas that your gas bag can carry, in other words, giving you more fuel for your flight. Gas bags also have an amazing weight capacity, so they're great to bring along as a farming carrier. That's how I use mine. Some people will put a few points into weight, but you really don't have to. They have one of the best weights of all the creatures in the game. Because they have a lot of damage reduction when they are fully inflated, you don't need to level health too much unless you want to use it for maybe a soak of PvP purposes. But just bear in mind that the more oxygen you have, the more fuel you have for your gas bag flights. The first mistake people make when flying a gas bag is to treat it like any other traditional flyer in Ark. Clicking space to get that initial lift and then holding W to fly forward or pushing on the stick to fly forward and continually holding it down. If you do this on a gas bag, it will cause rapid ascension into the heavens where you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. Gas bags are not traditional flyers, so I want you to change your mindset when it comes to flying a gas bag. The trick for flying it is to treat the gas bag like a rocket. And it's a rocket with thrusters, and you use the thrusters to control the momentum of the travel of the gas bag. And the amount of gas in the HUD here is how much fuel you have to propel your rocket. You will notice naturally over time when a gas bag is high, it will slowly lose fuel and height over time, and it does this at a slow rate. When you use any of the directional keys or your controller's joystick, it uses more fuel or air to propel the gas bag. You can see that when you hit one of the directional keys, the gas meter decreases quickly when you press it, shooting out more fuel to propel it in that direction. So now we have the concept down, let's take a more detailed look at the controls. The space or jump button pushes air directly out of the bottom of your gas bag, sending you straight upwards. The W or forward on your joystick pushes your gas bags forward while pushing air out from underneath, pushing you both upwards and forwards. The A key pushes air out of the side, causing you to both travel left and upwards. The D key pushes air out the other side, causing you to travel right and upwards. The S key or down on your joystick tilts the gas bag backwards and pushes air out at the front of the gas bag, sending you backwards. When you do this from a starting stance, you'll travel backwards and up. You can also use the S key as a reverse thruster to act as a brake when you've put too much momentum into the forward travel of your gas bag. If you look up and hit S, you notice that the gas bag will start to travel back and down. The directional keys, along with your mouse or camera control the direction in which you want your gas bag to travel in, while using the gas or fuel from the gas bag to propel them in that direction. The longer you hold the key, the more fuel you push out to travel in that direction. Think of it as a buildup of momentum. So if you hold down any of the directional keys, you'll continue to travel in that direction long after you've stopped pressing the key. This means that you don't want to hold down the keys for long periods of time. You modulate them off and on to control your momentum and fuel to get to where you want to fly to. I'm going to take some flights with my gas bag to give you some examples of exactly what I mean. So I'm using the spacebar to get height and forward to push our momentum. Our goal here is to get to Grenoble. So you can see I'm kind of modulating. I'm not holding down the keys. We've lost a bit of height, so we'll pop the spacebar and W just to bring ourselves a little further over. Again, we're going to need to clear this wall, so we'll put a little bit more gas into the gas bag. Turning it off when we feel like we've reached the right height. You need to remember that when you do press these buttons, there is a little bit of momentum that carries. So releasing it just before you get to the point that you want to be at. If you notice here on the left-hand side of my screen, I do have a real-time keyboard. You can actually see the key presses as I'm flying. See Grenoble in the distance. We want to get... We have to go down into the tunnel now. Using our last bit of gas just to make it up the thing here. And we nailed it pretty well. If you are a beginner gas bag flyer, it is actually easy to start with your gas bag at an elevated position and then fly from there. So if we take off here, just a little spacebar to continue the height, and we'll head around the corner. We'll use some of our directional arrow and our mouse camera. And we're going to aim for the pyramid structure over there. Watching my keyboard here, you can see that with each press, it's just for a few seconds to get momentum. Just continuing forward just to get a little bit of height and momentum, and modulating it off and on as needed. Pay attention to the W key here. I hit it now. Back off, let it go, carry some momentum. Press it again. Get a little bit more forward and height that I need to make it. Modulating it off and on. You can see we're losing a little bit of height here, so we're going to spacebar it. W just to get that back. And then pushing forward to get us to the spot we want to land at. If you feel like I'm making this look easy, please know that I really sucked at gas bag flying until I understood the mechanics and put in the practice. And with these tips, I know you will be able to do it too. And then just coming in for a nice landing right here. You also need to think about verticality. If you want to go up to a height, you're going to need to give a lot more thrust at the beginning of your flight. And making sure you're full of gas before you take off. In this one, I do want to get a little bit of height, so I am going to hold the spacebar and W together. We're trying to get to my base here, which is on an elevated platform in the city, so I'm getting a lot of height early on because we know the gas bag will fall over time. You can see we're getting pretty high here. Our height is decreasing a bit now, so it's okay to hit W again. Gaining height with a gas bag is one of those tricky things. It's a little bit easier to land on the ground than it is in an elevated position. Because once it starts getting the downward momentum, you really have to fight it with the spacebar to get back up. Pop a little bit more height, we're getting close. Go, kind of drifted in, hit S. I overshot a little. That's okay. Hit S to bring it down nicely back at the base. So you might be starting to feel a little bit more confident about flying a Gasbag, but there are still some issues that can arise. The first one is fall damage. Gasbags can take fall damage, which doesn't really make a lot of sense given that they're a giant bag of air, but let me explain in a little bit more detail. Many creatures take fall damage when falling from a significant height while mounted. This causes the creature to lose a significant amount of health. Gasbags will take fall damage when they're ridden if there's no air or not enough air left in the reserve tank. The maximum fall damage they can take is about 40% of their health. If you fall and land with air in reserve in the gas meter, this will act as a cushion and the fall damage that you would have taken gets absorbed by the air and pushed out of your gas bag. You'll see the remaining gas in the meter disappear and no fall damage will be obtained. The more air you have when landing, the less chance that there is of fall damage. It all depends on the height and the speed of which you fall. It'd be safe to assume that if you have around 200 air left in your tank, you won't take fall damage. You can get away with less air, especially if you're returning back to Earth slowly or from a not so great height. There's still some ways that you can avoid this. If you think you're going to take fall damage or you have none or almost no air left in the tank, the best solution is to dismount before you land. That way the gas bag won't take damage. If you have used too much gas and you're in a rapid motion and are floating up and out of control, you can quickly unmount and remount the gas bag. This stops the previous momentum that the gas bag had, so you can try and regain control. Another emergency option is if you've gone up way too high is to hit C and blow all the air out of the gas bag and cause it to rapidly fall down to the ground. You have to be very careful with this. In this case, you want to definitely make sure you dismount before landing so you don't take fall damage. My name is Krabbytron. I really hope the tips in this video help you to become an absolute pro at gas bag flying. If you really appreciated the tips in the video, you can hit the like button. If you want more really helpful Ark videos, you can click on this one here or subscribe to the channel for more.